All right, it's that time to get into the papers, the stories making the headlines, making the rounds that have us talking. This is freshly pressed on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. It's 32 minutes past 7 a.m. on a hump of the week, Wednesday morning, 16th day of April 2025. Yours truly, Ayokunmi, is here again with you. Great to have you join us. Always a pleasure to join you. And of course, bring you amazing stories, analysis, your reactions to follow as well. An interactive session is on the cards, and you can join us on WhatsApp by sending your messages on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Those are the ways you can be a part of the show this morning. On YouTube, you can drop your comments in the chat box and I'll take them alongside the WhatsApp messages. All right, joining me to take a look at the stories and give their analysis. Devoe and Lakunle are in on the call. Devoe, Lakunle, can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everywhere where you are listening and watching us this morning. It's a Friday to it's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's a holy Wednesday. We're in the Holy Week, and let's keep everything holy.
Indeed. Devoe, good morning.
Morning, Lagos. Morning, world. Smooth, Lakunle, AY. A cool scam to bad.
Mr. C is also joining us on the call this morning. Good to drop his 2 cents on some of the stories. Mr. C, good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning.
All right, let's get into the stories. Devoe, you never cease to crack me up. Anyways, that's one of the stories we'll be talking about later on. But we're going to begin in River State this morning, Devoe, if that is okay by you, because, hey, I just want to jump right into the nitty-gritty of the issues. Daily Post is where we're pitching our tent right now. And the River State sole administrator, that's Vice Admiral retired Ibok Ete Ekwe Ibas, has summoned suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Dr. Ngozi Ordu, to appear before him at the Government House in Port Harcourt. Now, this was contained in a special announcement issued on Tuesday and signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prof. Ibibia Lucky Warika. Now, Warika disclosed that the summons forms part of an official inquiry into appointments made during the Fubara administration over the past 2 years. Devoe, this movie has been brewing over a while, and the plot is thickening even further. Now we're having the sole administrator summoning the elected governor of the state to come and, should I say, explain, shalaye as it were, on certain things. What's going on?
Well, it's no longer the plot anymore. Neither is it the script, but it just seems as if full-blown dictatorship is playing itself out in river states. Because what we understand was a state of emergency that was threatening would I call it, the stability of the Nigerian economy because of the effect that any destabilization or vandalization of oil infrastructure would have had. Rather, therefore, the inability for the governor and the state House of Assembly to come together was what was posed as the reason for the state of emergency. But what we are seeing playing out in daily succession is basically a complete erection of a dictatorial government in River State, whereby the sole administrator, who was basically just to act as an impasse until the parties that were suspended can come back together, which I have not seen any conversation along, has gone about more or less deconstructing the democratic structures within the states from, first of all, putting a new cabinet in place, then taking out the local government chairman by the Supreme Court ruling and putting in local sole council administrators, then by removing the staff and the executives of the local, the state electoral body, and then also putting up a new budget. Now he has, through this article, summoned the erstwhile suspended governor Fubara and his deputy to come and face him with explanations on the reasons of how they have made some certain appointments within their own administration. I mean, AY, can you wake me up? It sounds like a dream at this point. It sounds like it's not even a movie. I must be in one dream world. What am I hearing? First of all, the suspended governor is still the governor. He's only suspended. By law, the structure of authorization comes straight from the presidency, backed up by the National Assembly, meaning if there's anybody who reports to anybody, the governor can only report to the president. Okay? And the state assembly can only report to the National Assembly because it's still a republic. Therefore, where does this sole administrator derive any powers to summon the governor? Two, the governor's immunity has not been erased. Okay? We're not aware that his immunity status, which is granted to him by the Constitution, so he doesn't owe any response to any other person beyond his own state assembly. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how the checks and balances of democracy are put in place. Therefore, if you have suspended the democratic process in that place, you cannot now subject him. And the worst part is the federal government, as the president who took this move, has to be very careful lest he breeds the environment for many people to begin to contest and go against it. Even though the PDP had taken the federal government to the Supreme Court to make some interpretations, which some people clearly believe the suspension of the democratic structures was in violation of the Constitution. But what we are seeing play out, like I said, is going against what we understand as democratic tenets. And what can happen is that at some point, already with the resistance that the police gave citizens of River State who came out to clearly protest against what was going on, it's showing that more tensions than they had planned might actually be in the offering if they're not careful about this unconstitutional move. And I'm calling it unconstitutional because from our interpretation, we don't see anywhere that the state of emergency includes the suspension of democratic structures in the states.
All right, Mr. C. I mean, just quick, very quickly, give us an interpretation of this.
I agree with most of what Devoe said. However, Devoe is wrong in suggesting that the governor reports to the president. I'm sorry. In the system we're running, the system we copied from, governors don't report to anybody. At best, they answer questions posed by the state houses of assembly. Now, more importantly, I see something more dangerous playing out. He's been summoned, which is illegal, it's unlawful, it's unconstitutional. If he declines to, believing very reasonably and very correctly that he still has immunity, do not be surprised he's then arrested by this sole administrator. And we're slowly descending into depths that we never even got to under military rule. And it's truly, truly sad. It's truly, truly puzzling, and it's very ridiculous.
Ridiculousness at play. If you've seen that show on TV, you'll understand exactly what it is that I'm talking about. All right, Lakunle, let's talk about what's going on in the country at the moment in terms of the reports coming out of The Guardian here. Now, this report says that about 50.1%, that's half of Nigerians, spend almost all their monthly income on food. Now, the maiden edition of the Nigerian Consumer Outlook report also says rising electricity costs have pushed 18.5% of households to adopt solar energy solutions, while 31.7% of the population now rely on self-employment as their primary source of income. 31.7%, where we've been told that Nigeria's unemployment rate is about 4-point-something%. But anyways, that is by the side. Lakunle, do share your thoughts with us on this one.
It's not difficult to almost want to agree with this, right? The national minimum wage is pegged at 77,000, at the federal level, many of the states in Nigeria today have said that they cannot pay that amount of money. Yeah. So it means that the person who is on level one, step one, will earn 77,000 thereabout. Let's assume that's what it is. Then what is the highest grade in the federal civil service pay structure? 17. 17, it doesn't have any step. According to that thing, that person will probably earn something in general about 4-5 million or thereabout, right? So when you average that out amongst the over 300 and something thousand federal government employees, last they say that there are, you probably find the figure in the region of, say, about barely about 1 million naira or thereabout. Of course, you know that there are more people in the lower cater than up there. So let's use Lagos as a typical example. The average rate for housing for a one-bedroom house in Lagos today is 1 million naira per annum. That comes to, let's say, about 100,000 naira per month. Don't forget, minimum wage is 77,000, right?
Right.
When you look at all of those numbers, I'm being hypothetical with all of that, right? And then you look at the things that are contending for the monies that people have. The 10-kilogram bag of rice, kilogram bag of rice is about 23,000. Yeah, I think so. You go to the market to buy pepper, they sell you pepper for 5,000 naira. It's not even up to one of those cellophane bags you carry. You can almost dip it in your pockets. You go to buy yam, it is 5,000 naira a tuber. So when you take out all of this for an average family of 4, that's father, mother, and 2 children, how many tubers of yam would they feed on a month? Now add that to the what's it called? The cost of fueling, transportation, school, and all that. And you know, before you even get to all of these things, the basic need of man, what they call them?
Food, shelter,
food, shelter, food, and
clothing.
So when you look at all of those things, how much of these things can your 77,000 naira or your 1 million naira get you in a month? Then you add school. If the public schools were as good as they are supposed to be, we would not have the high proliferation of private schools at all levels. It's so even bad that it is even people in government whose spouses, children, parents are the one who own and run these schools.
Right,
right. As well. The people who are in government hospitals are the ones who also have own or work in private hospitals. Take it to every aspect of things that government is supposed to lead in provision of those services. Take it to water provision. We now have people build houses, dig boreholes, run pipes to the front of their houses for their neighbors to fetch water for free. So you can look at it, and this thing I've described is across the country. There's nowhere in Nigeria that the things that we are talking about now is not replicated. So what do we do? Basic things, food security. The most important security of any country is a country who is able to feed itself. Just look at the story of Egypt, Joseph in the Bible. Told them for 7 years they're going to be this, 7 years they're going to be that. And what did they do? They saved for 7 years. By the time the whole world was hungry, they were the most powerful country because they could feed everybody. We need to be able to do that to ourselves. We must have a specific and deliberate plan to make agriculture work in this country so that food can be cheap. Can you guess what? Food is cheaper in the United Kingdom than it is in Nigeria. More than half of what they eat in the United Kingdom is imported from mainland Europe, from Africa, from everywhere. But food is still cheaper there than it is in Nigeria, where 70% of our land is arable and unused. We have the insecurity that farmers cannot go to farm. We have the issue of even us, the people ourselves, who get government loans to farm, and we divert it to other purposes, and so on and so. So all of these things, when you put them together, you're seeing the effect. Don't forget, we've had three flood rainy seasons that were flooded in the last thereabout.
Bring it home, Lakunle. Bring it home.
It washed away many many farmlands. And so the effect of all those things is what we're seeing now. And then we need to be deliberate on how we're going to work on these things. These figures are scary. There's no how the average Nigerian isn't going to break sometime in the future. And our government need to take notes and help to stop us from reaching that breaking point.
Nigerians are close to reaching that breaking point with all these numbers, and it seems like they go up each and every single day. It's scary when you think about it, but let us not lose hope. Let's do what needs to be done in order to change our fortunes. There's no doubt about that one. All right, Devoe, let's get back into the Guardian here. And as you said earlier, scam too bad. Well, we are at that doorstep right now, as many Nigerians are in shock, disbelief, and tears. I think there's more tears than disbelief and shock, really, after another Ponzi scheme named CBEX crashed earlier on this week. Now, weeks ago, many who invested in the scheme advertised their newly found pathway to financial freedom, and I put that in quotes, on social media with screenshots of account balances from $1,000, $10,000 to even $85,000. Well, this has happened. Eyes are cleared, but not all eyes. There's still tears in a lot of eyes. But Devoe, another Ponzi scheme. Do people ever learn, or is it desperation? Which of the two?
Yeah, I feel bad hearing this. I think there are mixed feelings here in the sense that those who fell for this scam, obviously, we've seen the videos of many people who put in their life savings, those who put in the majority of what they had. And most times, these scams are successful among people who are greedy, also among people who want a shortcut to some kind of financial prosperity. And why I say shortcuts, because when someone gives you an offer and tells you that within a month, 30 days, 2 months, they'll give you 100% return for doing nothing, you need to ask questions, even if they've made it work for one or two people. What we know in this life is that there's no free money out there. Now, unfortunately, for all the unsuspecting Nigerians, and I think one of their offices in Ibadan was attacked heavily, it's the same play every time. After they give you this incredible return, they then stop. After they've done it maybe for a month or two, a few successful people, they cash out. The administrators behind it cash out, and they'll now tell you that, oh, pay a little more to be able to get your money. It's the same thing that happened with MMM. It's the same thing that happened with Nosprecto. It's the same thing that happened with
Countless others. Countless others.
Countless others, especially the recent agricultural scams. We have to be careful. Unfortunately, the campaign by the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is responsible for investment capital banking in this country, they had put out a campaign warning people about putting their money with schemes that are not registered. Okay. I'm sure some of these people were not aware. Okay. I only encourage the regulatory bodies to continue the scam on a daily basis, year round, because hardworking people cannot keep losing their money. Unfortunately, these kind of scams world over are very popular among poor nations that lots of people live from hand to mouth. And unfortunately, many people don't even learn. I can assure you, because the fact that Nigeria is still struggling with its an economy and with the millions that are multidimensional poor people, any other person who comes up again with a scam will actually get people who will believe it. So like I said, mixed feelings. We feel for those who have lost their money, but it's a hard lesson for many others when the next WhatsApp chat comes that I can double your money, or like they're doing in Enugu States, bring some cash to the herbalist, and before you know it, money will be falling inside the calabash in your wardrobe. These things don't work. There's no money that falls from the sky. Let me warn again, all those boys and girls who are killing themselves in the name of Yahoo Plus Plus. It is just organ harvesting. They take the parts and they sell them in illegal and illicit markets for dollars. There is no money that falls from the sky.
All right, Devoe.
Okay, so very quickly, I listened to this one. I disagree with you. There are no mixed feelings here.
We can't hear him.
Okay, so I agree with Devoe to a certain extent. But even the Holy Book says a fool and his money are soon parted. I'm sorry to say this. A lot of Nigerians are dishonest. What we call street intelligence or street OT is simply dishonesty wrapped up in nice words and a desire and a working desire to do things with impunity. There have been so many scams from the mid 1990s till date, and it will continue to happen. Why? People don't want to go through the process of making money, doing the hard work. They just want to go from takeoff point to destination. They don't want to go through the journey. And it's really ridiculous why a lot of our young Nigerian youth going into crime and going into fraud because they don't want to work. How
Yeah,
can somebody tell
society
wait,
promotes
they
crime.
and they promise you 100%? You're not criminally minded and you fall for it. If you're not a thief and an armed robber, why would that appeal to you? And more importantly, if you heard about this scam, you need to check your circles because it then tells you the quality of the people in your circle. But I'm not sorry for them. I don't know why they're crying. They should stop disturbing us because when they were investing, they didn't disturb us.
I just want to add one thing, just one word.
Okay, Lakunle.
Absolute greed. Greed. That's just what it is.
Absolute greed, according to Lakunle. Let me take a few messages before I come back to you, Lakunle, and talk about the Nigerian police. I need to jump on this one. Oluwaseyi says, who is he? An unelected person from another state summoning an elected governor of a state because he was placed in a position of power by fiat. To think the House of Representatives is just putting together a team to legislate for the state after all this time. We are not in a military administration. Those Gen Zs who never experienced that military era that are calling for one should know this is just child's play of what a military administration is actually capable of. Ade in Lagos says, it's safe to say that Nigeria has been turned to a gangster paradise courtesy of this government. Look at the insecurity in the land. If you protest, they'll quickly send the police and security outfits to stop your protest. Whereas you have bandits and herdsmen killing people in Plateau, Ebonyi, and so on and so forth. You can't see such security to protect the people, but they're swift to condemn killings. That means the government is complicit in all these things that are going on and doesn't have the political will because of the elections coming up. All right, thank you, Adi, for sharing your thoughts. Tony Marine Beach says, does Ibas have the power to summon a duly elected governor who was only suspended, not voted out, and by default is under immunity according to our laws until his tenure is over? You now have a wild branch illegally grafted into the Rivers governance system through illegal means, wanting to probe or investigate a duly elected governor under immunity. What's this mess going on in Rivers State? All right, keep those thoughts coming in. All right, Lakunle, let's talk about this story coming out of the Vanguard. A viral video showing several Nigerian police officers allegedly receiving 5,000 naira each from a Chinese man and his family has sparked widespread outrage and renewed concerns over corruption and ethics in Nigeria police force. The footage which surfaced online shows uniformed officers lining up as a Chinese man hands them cash gifts. Obviously, a lot of things have been said about this. And when initially contacted by Vanguard, Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumewa Adejobi said he was unaware of the viral video or the incident, but I've heard that they've been summoned at this point to Abuja for explanations and whatever is going to happen next. But we're here again, Lakunle, with another incident of the Nigerian police, collecting cash gifts. I mean, the ridiculousness that goes on in this country, it boggles the mind.
So let me start from a little bit pretty much higher up. Like the Americans will say that they have an American dream, right? What is the Nigerian dream? That's the first question we need to ask. When you think about our dream, then you can then ask ourselves, how do we hope to achieve this dream? What are the ethics, the process, the things that we need to do to achieve this dream as individuals and as a corporate entity called Nigeria? You can easily see that the case like the rapper will say that when the head of the fish is spoiled, why are you then bothered about the rest of the fish itself? Because apparently it is spoiled as well. Because you can see that, look, when you look at the story, right? For me, what caught my attention was the sharp denial by two high-ups in the police hierarchy. The first PRO in Abuja and the first PRO in Lagos were not aware it is not in Lagos. What does it really matter where it is? We have a mono force in Nigeria. The Nigerian police is the same in Lagos, in Akwa Ibom, in Bauchi. It's the same police. So why are they denying? When something comes up, the first concern should be, where did it happen? we will check it, we will find it, we will give a report. But see how the two of them pushed it aside, according to the report, says we're not aware. And that's it. So don't ask me because I'm not aware. It is not in Lagos, so it is not my business. So you can even see that because even the men on the road know that their eye-ops are far away from them, that whatever happens, they are protected. We all say it outside that if a policeman is caught in this kind of thing, the worst that can happen is they will transfer the person to another place. We don't know. They have never shown us that all the ones that they've arrested, they've taken to orderly room trial. We have not seen the end result of whether they've handed them to what's it called, a normal court after they've been dismissed and tried and sent to jail or something. We have not seen the end result of any of the punishments that they purportedly hand over to this kind of people in the police force. We need. Hello? Can you hear me?
Lakunle? We can hear you.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Round up your thoughts, Lakunle.
We need to be circumspect about the kind of people who want to be in our law enforcement. The kind of people we have in our law enforcement today are not the kind of people that can enforce our laws, no matter how bad the laws are. Right? We need to be circumspect about it. We need to think it through. And that's what I think about it.
Okay, so just to add to Lakunle, what he said last. In addition to being circumspect about who you get into security agencies, the overarching need and interest of all Nigerians today is to ensure that the right people get into positions of authority and leadership, not just people get into security agencies. If you have the wrong set of individuals in positions of leadership and authority, the nation will never get better.
And that is such a very scary thought. Let me take your thoughts and contributions. On YouTube, Miriam says, Lakunle's breakdown is very exact. Thanks for the analysis. And companies will tell you not to have two jobs, SMH. All right, Miriam, do all you need to do because it's tough out there on the streets. This is coming from Dapo, who's in TBS, says, there's no free lunch anywhere, and only 420 ways apart from inheritance legacies exist to getting rich. The first is hard work, and the remaining is 4-1. The monetary system in Nigeria has made the public very valuable to scammers, and most people prefer the shortcut method instead of reward for labor. Even churches preach overnight breakthrough, so it's not surprising to see such a large volume of gullibility. Gilbert Musa in Festac says, okay, I don't know which of the analysts you're talking about, but he says your in-house analysts, there are three of them, Devoe, Lakunle, and Mr. C, rightly pointed out, these Ponzi schemes are not new. For Nospeco in 2006 to MMA in 2016, the SEC has more work to do by closing offices of unregistered financial houses and other related investment schemes. All right, thank you for your thoughts. Mayowa Nikeja says, sandwich of illegalities, the administrator is only playing out the script that was handed to him by his puppeteer. Who is his puppeteer? Who is Pinocchio and who is Geppetto? Mayowa, let us know, please. Oluwaseyi says, everyone or maybe at least most of them involved in these Ponzi schemes know it's one. They just believe they won't be the one left holding the bag when the bubble bursts. True, they believe they can cash out really quick and keep moving. Never happens that way. This is Charles. Charles says, when Yusuf Babadati said swearing in this administration will end democracy, it was termed controversial. It is, however, playing out like a fictional movie. Sad, very sad. Ibrahim Zakari says, Devoe is spot on. Greed and laziness are responsible for these losses. It's a pity some people don't learn. If you know, you know. Ladili says, Mr. C is right. Who is in your circle for you to have heard of that scheme? Who are you rolling with? Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, as they say, or as they used to say. I don't even say that anymore. Ajayi Oloniluwa says, but how is it possible that the federal government will allow these dubious trading platforms to operate in the country and the marketing of fake drugs on our internet space? God help us. We're in Nigeria, Ajayi. Everything seems to go, unfortunately. Stevie Kelly in Maryland says, please blame not the appointed administrator in River State in his moves. It's all about a script handed over to him. It's unfortunate. By the way, what happened to our human rights legal luminaries? Why is everyone keeping quiet in the face of these humongous, lawless things going on in River State? God have mercy on this nation. And let me see. Okay, I think I've taken this message. Have I? Did I?
No.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, Jay says, the sole administrator in Rivers State is going beyond his brief to summon the suspended governor and his deputy. Governor Fubara is not obligated to obey the summons. All right. Thank you for your messages. Thank you so much for keeping it tuned. Devoe, Lakunle, your final thoughts, just 10 seconds as we wrap up on the show.
Yeah, I think that again, where we find ourselves in Nigeria, we need to think about our leadership. We need how we want to people who lead this country, how to lead us well. We need to be very circumspect about it, like I said.
All right. Devoe.
Okay, bring your 50,000 to 1 million naira. I will give you 200% by the end of the month.
This to see. Mr. C says no. Anyways, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Don't go anywhere. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast at 8:15. We're going to get into the locker room. Tega is on the ground. It's going to be a great one, as always.